If you travel through the Canadian Rockies at some time, you will be aware of the railway. Mostly it clings to a narrow area adjacent to the river. But it must have been a relief to those railway builders to come across a wide flat area, so they named it Field. It is now a small railway town. The train is just arriving, completely blocking the road in, and before it can continue, one of the engine drivers has to get down to change the points. Slowly, oh so slowly, the train sets off again. These trains can be over a mile long, and all there is to do is to wait patiently and count the number of wagons. So, quite a few wagons have to be counted. Field is not far from a major tourist attraction, Lake Louise. So we are hoping to find somewhere to stay here, as it could be cheaper. We found a place on the edge of town with a vacancy sign outside. Inside was a note saying, "If you want to stay, move in and change the sign over." This we did, and Val went off to find some food. We got all we needed from the general store, and no amount of begging from a local resident could coax any food from Val.
So what have you got for your tea tonight, Mum?
Made soup.
Smoked sausage soup.
The next day we visited the spiral tunnels. We got a quick glimpse of the Rocky Mountaineer. But what was really fascinating was to see this one train travelling in several different directions at once as it winds its way through the mountain. Kicking Horse Pass is so steep that the railway engineers decided to lengthen the trip over the pass by winding the railway in and out of the mountain. Our next railway town was Lytton. Here the Canadian Pacific and the Canadian National Railways run practically side by side. Inside this old caboose is a model railway and a guide who could tell us about the area. At one time the two railways ran in opposition, but it became obvious that, as for most of the way the routes are single track, if they shared each other's tracks, using one for going east and the other for going west, scheduling would be much easier. At the bottom of the picture you can just see the river. This is another attraction of the area. Upstream on the Thompson River they run rafting trips, but this is as close as we could get. Here the Fraser and Thompson rivers meet. They start roughly in the same area, but the Fraser takes a long devious route gathering up silt, whilst the Thompson is almost clear. It will be half a mile or more before these two rivers merge. You would pay good money in Scotland to get this view, and even then you would need binoculars. It's an osprey's nest, and they are feeding their young. And beyond the nest is another attraction. We couldn't quite see what it was, so went for a closer look. It's called a reactionary ferry. The ferry is attached to a cable across the river, and to get across you simply put in a paddle and hey presto, you are doing a ferry glide across the river. Lift the paddle to slow it down and you are ready to tie up, and the end of the journey.